Let's learn what modals are. Modals are auxiliary verbs that express necessity, possibility, ability, permission, obligation, or advice. Unlike main verbs, modals do not function independently in a sentence. Instead, they modify the meaning of the main verb. They do not change their form according to the subject and are always followed by the base form of the main verb. Let's learn the characteristics of modals. No inflection. Modals do not take s, ing or ed forms. Example, he can drive, but he cannot say he can't drive. Followed by base verb. A modal is always followed by the base form of a verb without to. Example, she can swim, but we cannot say she can to swim. Next, express various moods. Modals convey different shades of meaning, including possibility, necessity, ability, obligation, advice, and more. Finally, no infinitives or participles. Unlike other verbs, modals do not have infinitive. To must does not exist, or participle form. Musting is incorrect. Let's learn types of modals and their the modals of ability. The modal can express as present or general ability. For example, she can play the piano very well. Next, could. Could expresses past ability or a polite request. For example, when he was younger, he could run 5 miles without stopping. Next, we will learn about modals of permission. Can is used for informal permission. For example, you can go home now. Next, may. May is used for formal permission. Example, may I leave early today? Next, might. Might is used when the permission is less certain. For example, you might go if the teacher allows it. Now we will learn modals of possibility and probability. May, might and could. They express present or future possibility. For example, it may rain today. Next, must. Must expresses a strong probability. Example, she must be at work now. Next, can't. Can't expresses impossibility. Example, that can't be true. Now we will learn about modals of necessity and obligation. For example, the modal must indicates strong necessity or obligation. For example, you must wear a seat belt while driving. Next, have to. The modal have to expresses an external obligation. For example, I have to complete my assignment by tomorrow. Next, need to. The modal need to conveys necessity. Example, you need to submit the form before the deadline. Another one is ought to. Ought to indicate moral obligation or advice. For example, you should apologize to her. Now, modals of prohibition. For example, the modal must not express a strict prohibition. Example, you must not smoke in this building. Next is cannot. Cannot expresses restriction or lack of permission. Example, you cannot enter without an ID card. Now we will learn about modals of advice and suggestion. Should and ought to. Should and ought to give suggestions. For example, you should sleep early to stay healthy. Now, had better. The modal had better provides strong advice or a warning. Example, you had better leave now or you will miss the train. Now can't. Can't express a strong denial. Example, she can't be lying. Modals for future prediction. The modal will expresses definite future actions. Example, she will arrive at noon. Next, modals for future prediction. May or might express future possibility. Example, it might snow tomorrow. Next, need. The semi-modal need expresses necessity. For example, you need not worry about the exam. Next, ought to. Ought to expresses moral duty. Example, you ought to respect your address. And finally, the semi-modal used to. The semi-modal used to expresses past habitual actions. For example, he used to play football when he was young. Let's learn some key points. Modals play a crucial role in English grammar by allowing speakers to express different shades of meaning related to necessity, permission, possibility, ability, obligation, and advice. Unlike main verbs, modals do not function alone and always require a base verb. Their unique structure makes them indispensable in both spoken and written English. Understanding how to use modals correctly enhances fluency and clarity in communication, making speech and writing more precise and expressive. Mastery of modals helps learners communicate their intentions clearly and appropriately in different contexts. Thank you.